Hey everybody, this is Shannon. I'm here with my partner Michael as well. And today we wanted to talk with business owners about an important thing that right now we have a lot of people that are really focused on, and that's life insurance. With all the uncertainty that's going on right now, we know that you as a business owner have a lot of concerns, and while we want to keep you updated with how you can manage those and continue to run a successful business, today we're really focused on one thing, and that's life insurance.
Thanks, Shannon. So when we're looking at a policy review, there's really 5 things that we're trying to key in on for our clients. The first one is, what type of insurance policy do you have? Is it term? Is it permanent cash value policy? Then the term, meaning how long is it guaranteed for? A lot of term policies might be 10 or 15 years. Third is the performance. Is it actually, if it's a cash value policy, is it performing the way you would like it to perform or the way it was illustrated when you initially purchased it? Fourth are the provisions. There's a lot of changes that have happened to life insurance over the last 5 to 10 years, a lot of new provisions that can really help people outside of just paying a death benefit. And then finally, beneficiaries. Are your beneficiaries where they need to be? And so, Shannon, maybe we can go into those in a little more detail.
Sure. So when we say understand the type of plan that you have or the type of policy that you have, we run into it quite often where we have people who will come to us, they bought an insurance policy years ago and haven't looked at it since and don't really understand what it means. It's really important to know what type of policy you have. It might be a term policy, it might be a permanent policy, and that's kind of the first thing that we need to look at.
Yeah, and Shannon, in these tough times, if you have a permanent policy, if you're a business owner that is struggling to make payroll, to maybe pay rent because you've seen your earnings go down significantly, cash value life policies may be a source of liquidity for you while you're trying to get through these tough times.
And the good thing is that if you have a term policy, let's say you bought it a while ago and it was all you needed at the time, or you wanted to save some money, if you're interested in replacing it and having a permanent policy for whatever reason, most of these, you're able to convert them and it's relatively simple. So if your needs change, if your business has grown, if things in life are different than they were before and you want to use this as more of a planning tool versus just a what if, the good news is it's pretty simple to do. It's not a situation where you just, oh man, I threw away everything that I was working towards. These policies are generally convertible.
Well, and Shannon, that's a great point because sometimes people's health conditions change. So those conversion features are really key. As part of the analysis that we do for our clients is that we take a look and say, okay, how many more years do you have left on that term policy to potentially convert it? Now, the second part when we talk about term, and that really is, how long are you locked into the rates that you have currently? So if you had a 10-year term policy and you're 5 years into it, you have another 5 years with which those premiums are going to stay the same. What we see happen a lot is that people will get a letter in the mail from their insurance company, and basically it says, your $500 a year premium just went up to $4,000. And it's a shock for them. And again, that's why we do reviews, so that these things don't happen to an individual ahead of time. They can be looking at it and prepare for it.
That's right. And the third thing that we want to talk about is, how is your policy performing? If you do have a cash value plan, you want to make sure, like Michael had said, that it's performing the way you think it should. And so that's another thing that we'll look at when we're running a review that you can take a look at. And also, how can you utilize that policy, particularly if you're a business owner?
That's a great point. The performance side of things, there are policies that are variable. So with this market downturn, you could have seen, the cash value decline significantly if you're invested in mutual funds. If you're in an equity index fund or a universal life or a whole life, that probably isn't going to impact you as much. But again, you want to make sure that whatever you originally signed up for, that you're on track. So that becomes the performance side. And then the provisions. Shannon, talk a little bit about this, because this is the really big part that we think can be very helpful to business owners, their partners, and their employees.
Sure. It's always important to know the provisions, to know exactly how you can use your policy if and when you should need it. One of the things that, like you said, is really beneficial and that we always encourage people to utilize is living benefits. This is somewhat recent, so if you haven't taken a look at your policy in a few years, you probably don't have a living benefits provision. And what this does is it allows you to, if you should get sick or if you're in an accident, it allows you access to the death benefit or the majority of the death benefit without actually passing away. If you got sick and you couldn't work, you could have access to that cash. If you wanted a special kind of treatment that wasn't covered by your health insurance, or if you wanted to go out of network, you could have access to that cash. And again, it's a lot of times we will see people that have a great policy, but they don't have that provision. And it's something that you should always take a look at. If you don't have it, you may want to consider.
Great point, Shannon. And then finally, we talk about beneficiaries. And, a lot of people, when they sign up for a life insurance policy, it's kind of like doing a will or a trust. You kind of do it and think it's done. But unfortunately, things change in life and adjustments need to be made. And so with beneficiaries, you always want to make sure that those are up to date. So part of that review that we do is to make sure that the insurance company has your beneficiaries where you would like them to be. Not just primary beneficiaries, but contingent, because if something happens to your primary and there's no contingent, then you have nobody left to have those proceeds go to. It's almost like they're going to go to your estate.
That's right. So whether you have some life changes, again, in this uncertain time, we have a lot of people that are just wanting to kind of get their affairs in order and make sure they're covered in all the right ways. Or if you're going through life changes, let's say you got married and had kids in the last few years, you should absolutely make sure that you're doing a review. But even if you just haven't looked at your policy in a while and just want to make sure you fully understand it, we do really thorough reviews where you get all your questions answered and we can make sure you walk away and know exactly what you have and make sure it's exactly what you want and what you need. So feel free to give us a call. Let us know if you want to have access to a review or if you want your employees to have access to a review. We're always here to help.
If you'll subscribe to our channel and click the bell below to be notified, then you can see all of the videos that we release on these different topics. And again, given our scenario where we are today with this crisis and pandemic, we're trying to really produce content that will help people with their personal finances and family needs.
Thanks so much for watching, and let us know any way we can help.